Take a break as we escape. We came alive. Alright. We back with another video. We reacted to all martial arts. Alright. We gotta find the video. I don't want to watch that 15-minute video. That video too long. That video too long. I'm not watching all that. Martial. Wait. Every martial arts. Yeah. Am I recording? Yeah. I need to stop. Put my dreads of doo-doo-doo in my face. My dreads of doo-doo-doo. Alright, let's get to it. Yo! Wait up. I can't get a short one? Yeah, it's not. It's got Tonsu though. Yes, we're gonna have to go with the 15-minute one. Well, oh, it's only 12. It's alright.
Karate.
Let me turn this fan on. Wait, hold on. Wait. To break as we escape, to paralyze. Alright. Let's get into this video.
Karate originated in the Ryukyu Kingdom, now part of Japan, with influences from Chinese Kung Fu. Although karate has various different styles, many of them include striking techniques such as punching, kicking, knee strikes, and elbow strikes, along with open hand techniques like knife hands. The philosophy behind karate involves
that is true, but a lot of people, like, I do karate, right? I do karate and kickboxing, right? But one thing a lot of people don't know is that
different styles.
Like, besides the striking, there's a good bit of grappling to it too. Like grappling, eye gouges, neck chops. But yeah, there's a good bit of other stuff to it besides just like striking, right?
Many of them include striking
and the weapons too.
Techniques such as punching, kicking, knee strikes, and elbow strikes, along with open hand techniques like knife hands. The philosophy behind karate involves not only physical training, but also a focus on mental discipline and moral character. Practitioners learn forms, sparring, and self-defense, aiming to develop a character of self-control and respect. It uses the classic belt system that goes from white to black. Taekwondo is a Korean martial art famous for its focus on high kicks and fast kicks. Just like karate, Taekwondo also aims to unite body, mind, and life, and in doing so, to promote peace. Taekwondo is mainly recognized for its head height kicks, jumping spinning kicks, and fast kicking techniques that are often used by movie actors because of its flashy style. Although it usually only consists of kicks, it became an Olympic sport in 2000, showcasing its global popularity and the athleticism required to perform its dynamic techniques.
One thing I've also heard about Taekwondo is that they do, like, y'all do punches. Like, people who do Taekwondo, they do punches. And they do knees and elbows as well. But they just focus on kicking for, I think, the sports aspect, if I'm being honest.
Techniques. Aikido. Developed in the early 20th century in Japan, its name means the way of harmony with the spirit, and it focuses on using an opponent's momentum and movements against them. Practitioners
Since they said using the opponent's force against them, I wonder what they're going to say for judo if they got that on here.
Direct attacks rather than confronting them with force. Aikido techniques include throws, joint locks, and control over aggression. It is now practiced in over 140 countries. Aikido also separates itself from other striking arts by allowing its practitioners to wear baggy clothes to practice throws that require a grip on the opponent's clothes. Muay Thai.
Muay Thai. The most glazed martial art ever. It's so glazed for no reason. I swear they see it be effective. Like, the only reason I think it's glazed is because of how effective their training style is. That's the only reason I think it's glazed. I don't know any other reason why it's glazed. It's definitely a good martial art, but bro, it's definitely a good martial art, but
known as the Art of Eight Limbs, utilizes fists, elbows, knees, and shins for striking, making it a feared and brutal stand-up fighting technique. Originating from Thailand, it has deep historical and cultural significance. Muay Thai training includes heavy physical conditioning, such as hitting the bones with hard sticks, mental discipline, and most importantly, respect for other fighters. The fights end with two fighters bowing and kneeling to each other, showing their respect no matter who is the winner. It is usually possible to see bracelets on fighters' arms, which is a tradition that comes from Thailand. Judo. Judo focuses on throws and ground techniques, including pins, joint locks, and chokes. Developed by Jigoro Kano in Japan, it emphasizes the principle of maximum efficiency, minimum effort. It is often seen as the standing...
I was watching a Sensei Seth video, and he was saying how much of a lie that was. You use so much physical strength in judo, but they always try to say more efficiency with less strength or whatever, and it's such a lie. You need strength to do it.
Jiu-jitsu, since it uses Brazilian Jiu-jitsu's principles in stand-up fighting. Judo is both a competitive sport and a means of self-defense, teaching practitioners to use leverage and balance to defeat stronger opponents. It also involves training with baggy clothes, just like Aikido. Jiu-jitsu focuses on close combat, unarmed or with a...
And why does it say baggy clothes? Like, just say gi, dobuk, and anything like that.
Minor weapon, and its core philosophy is to manipulate the opponent's force against themselves, rather than confronting it with one's own force. For this reason, its name means yielding art. It was developed to combat the samurai of feudal Japan, since there was a need to fight against armed and armored opponents without having weapons or just using short ones. Since striking against an armored opponent is ineffective, they noticed that the most effective way of neutralizing an armored enemy is through pins, joint locks, and throws, just like in judo, but using the attacker's energy against himself instead of directly opposing it. Jiu-jitsu students are sometimes taught potentially fatal or crippling moves, such as joint locking throws and break falling skills, to allow them to practice dangerous...
Why did they say potentially? The moves that you learn in jiu-jitsu can definitely kill someone.
Throws more safely in non-competitive settings. Judo actually comes from jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Brazilian jiu-jitsu specializes in... comes from jiu-jitsu.
I actually think that's true. Hold on. Like, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu came from Jiu-Jitsu. I mean, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu came from Judo, but I know Jiu-Jitsu, which started in Japan, I think it did start Judo. I think it did.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu specializes in ground fighting and ground...
between Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Jiu-Jitsu, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu really focuses on the ground aspect more often than the actual like defensive part. Even though some schools do teach the defensive parts, but it's like truly for competition, if I'm being honest. And then Japanese Jiu-Jitsu is like, it has punches. It's basically like MMA. That's basically what Japanese Jiu-Jitsu is.
Grappling. The fights usually start from the ground, unlike many martial arts, with a focus on gaining a dominant position to force an opponent to submit via joint locks or chokeholds. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu was first developed by a Brazilian family. After the family was taught a hybrid of traditional Japanese Jiu-Jitsu and Kodokan Judo by a traveling Japanese judoka, the family developed their own self-defense system called Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which kept evolving through generations, becoming what we know today. What makes this form unique is the fact that it uses opponents' own strength and weight against them, allowing smaller fighters to take down bigger opponents, which is very rare in martial arts. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu became famous for its effectiveness in mixed martial arts. Kung Fu. Kung Fu is a collective term for the various schools of Chinese martial arts, showcasing a rich variety of techniques and philosophies. Its origins stretch back to ancient China, making it one of the oldest martial arts. It was developed not just as a form of combat, but also as a means of spiritual growth. Some styles mimic the movements of animals, while others are inspired by Chinese philosophical concepts or historical figures. It includes dance-like movements and training with traditional weapons, while the fighters wear traditional baggy Kung Fu clothes that are similar to Aikido. Krav Maga. Krav Maga is a practical self-defense system.
Krav Maga is the most practical self-defense system. I've never ever seen anyone use Krav Maga and it work. Like half the time, the moves you're doing is so goofy. It's look, especially look at the picture. He has a knife in his hand, right? He has two. Look, the other one has a knife and he has a knife, right? You can't. That's just not possible if y'all are both knife fighting each other. That's just not possible. It's such a Krav Maga like makes you think that you can literally do everything and anything. But just that you know how to eye gouge and kick to the knee and kick to the groin, whatever, doesn't mean you a good self-defense practitioner. That doesn't mean.
Developed for the Israeli military, focusing on efficiency and instinctive movements. Designed for real-world situations, it combines techniques from boxing, wrestling, aikido, judo, and karate, and uses moves that would be considered illegal, like eye pokes or biting. Practitioners learn to defend against various attacks, including grab,
Like what?
like eye pokes or biting. Practitioners
No one is gonna stab you like that. Like that's the real thing. If it's focusing on real world situations, you're gonna focus on one type of stab, and that's that little fast stab like this. Bro, if I see someone coming with a knife, I'm not gonna look up and think, oh, high round kick. No, I'm not gonna think that. I'm gonna run away. And what if you miss? What's gonna happen? Your back gonna be turned towards him? No.
learn to defend against various attacks, including grabs, strikes, and weapons, focusing on neutralizing threats quickly and effectively, such as knife and gun disarms. Because of the obvious dangers, there are no Krav Maga competitions. It is said that for a competition, you need rules, and when you have rules, it is no longer Krav Maga. Training focuses on awareness, aggression, and preparing individuals for the unpredictability of war. Capoeira. Capoeira is an Afro-Brazilian martial art that combines elements of dance, acrobatics, and music. Developed by African slaves in Brazil, it was disguised as a dance to allow practice without detection by slave owners. Capoeira is known for its quick and complex maneuvers, predominantly using power, speed, and leverage for a wide variety of kicks, spins, and other techniques. Training promotes physical fitness, rhythm, and creativity, embodying a rich cultural heritage. It is one of the most interesting martial arts out there. Wing Chun. Wing Chun is a style of kung fu known for close-range combat and very quick punches. Developed in southern China, its techniques focus on efficiency and simplicity. Practitioners utilize stance and structure to generate power, aiming to control the center line, the most direct route to an opponent. Wing Chun's rapid punches and close-range attacks make it effective for self-defense in tight spaces. Boxing. Boxing, often called the sweet science or the art of hitting and not getting hit, is a combat sport focusing on punch combinations, footwork, and head movement. Originating from ancient civilizations, it evolved into the modern sport known today, governed by the Marquis of Queensberry rules. Training includes sparring, heavy bag work, and various drills. Because it is so famous, it is known to be the best-paying martial art, often allowing good boxers to earn big percentages of money where other martial artists would have only made a little amount, allowing a decent boxer to live off only from their boxing income. Kickboxing.
The only reason boxing is so popular is because it only uses hands. And well, not the only reason it's popular, but the only reason people watch boxing is because of its simplicity with just using hands. If you watch something like kickboxing now and you see them throw a kick and you're like, why did it do that much damage? Why did he get hurt from that? It's a little harder to understand. And if you don't look like you're brawling out there, like you're probably doing in boxing when the rounds get heated, then people are not gonna think that's an actual fight. So it's easier for people to understand boxing, while as kickboxing, taekwondo, wrestling, it may not be as well, not wrestling, but jiu-jitsu. It may not be as easy to tell what's going on in those martial arts.
Boxing originated in the mid-20th century, combining elements of traditional karate with Western boxing to create a dynamic, striking martial art. It was developed as practitioners from different martial backgrounds sought to compete under common rules, allowing punches, kicks, knees, and occasionally elbows, and it is usually considered boxing with kicks, just like its name suggests. Sambo. Sambo is a Soviet-developed combat sport and martial art that includes judo, wrestling, and traditional Russian fighting techniques, aiming at both self-defense and sports competition. Practitioners master throws like Aikido, joint locks like Jujutsu, and ground control tactics like wrestling. Sambo emphasizes quick transitions from standing to ground positions, preparing competitors for versatile and dynamic encounters. Combat Sambo, another style of Sambo, allows regular punches, kicks, elbows, and knees, as well as soccer kicks, headbutts, and groin strikes, except for standing or flying wrist bars. Silat. Silat refers to a class of martial arts from Southeast Asia, particularly Indonesia, Malaysia, and the Philippines, known for its fluid movements and incorporation of weapons and animal-inspired techniques. Training includes strikes, grappling, and weaponry, reflecting the rich cultural traditions of the region. Silat practitioners, or Pesilat, learn to blend offensive and defensive maneuvers seamlessly, often within dance-like forms that disguise the martial aspect of their movements. Tai Chi. Tai Chi, often spelled Tai Chi, is a Chinese martial art practiced for health benefits. It uses slow, flowing movements and deep breathing, promoting calmness, balance, and flexibility. Originally conceived as a fighting form, its techniques include push hands and combat applications. However, many practice it today as a means of stress reduction and exercise, focusing on the harmonious circulation of internal energy. Savate. Savate, also known as French boxing, is a martial art that combines elements of Western boxing with graceful kicking techniques, very similar to kickboxing and Muay Thai. However, Savate kicks must strike with the shoe, and in this regard, it differs from Thai boxing and kickboxing, which use the shin and swing the leg in a different manner. Originating in France, practitioners called
that kick hurt.
Saboteurs wear specially designed shoes and engage in a sport that prizes precision and agility. Techniques include a variety of kicks, punches, and combinations, usually developed from street fighting skills. Savate training emphasizes mobility, accuracy, and tactical finesse. Eskrima. Eskrima, also known as Arnis or Kali, is a Filipino martial art famed for its weapon-based fighting, particularly sticks, knives, and other bladed instruments. It also includes hand-to-hand combat, joint locks, grappling, and weapon disarming techniques. Training often begins with weapons to build coordination and flow, which are then applied to unarmed combat. Kyokushin Karate. Kyokushin Karate is known for its rigorous training and full-contact sparring. Masutatsu Oyama was the founder of the Kyokushin system of martial arts. After studying several martial arts styles, he found that none offered what he felt was the true way. He began practicing alone and developed his own training, fighting methods, and philosophy. Because Oyama's technique was so powerful and realistic, he gained widespread recognition in Japan, and soon a huge following of would-be students around the world wanted to follow what they coined the strongest karate.
Kyokushin is also glazed. Just how I said Muay Thai. Y'all see a combat sport type of karate and label it as the only type of effective karate. If it's like, people have to understand the difference between point fighting and just full contact fighting. Point fighting, you're just fighting for points, like the name says. Full contact, you're actually hitting the whole body as hard as you can, of course. It's so easy to understand, but yet so many people just regard what the name says. And it honestly makes me kind of like upset, because it's like people just don't even try to understand what the name mean, or what names be meaning no more.
As Oyama named his system Kyokushin, which translates to the true way or the ultimate truth. Wushu. Wushu, or modern Chinese martial arts, showcases fluid, acrobatic movements with traditional Chinese weapons and barehanded techniques. It is both a full-contact sport and a performance art, since practitioners, known as Wushu athletes, train in various styles that mimic animal movements or are inspired by Chinese folklore and history. Wushu competitions feature choreographed routines judged on technique, execution, and artistic expression, similar to gymnastics. Wrestling, with origins tracing back to ancient civilizations like Egypt and Greece, is among the...
Like wrestling, you can do wrestling at school, but I wish you could do other martial arts at school, though. Like, I wish you could do, like, kickboxing, judo, boxing, karate. Like, all that stuff at school, right? I've heard some other schools got, like, judo and boxing and wrestling at their school. Like, just imagine doing all that. I was just thinking in my head, like, the amount of fighters in that school. Like, them fights got to be crazy.
oldest recorded forms of combat. It focuses on grappling techniques such as clinch fighting, throws, takedowns, and pinning an opponent. It has evolved into various styles globally, including Olympic sports like Greco-Roman and freestyle wrestling, and numerous folk styles unique to different cultures like Turkish oil wrestling. The fighters aim to outmaneuver opponents through superior positioning and leverage. Wrestling's long history showcases its fundamental role in human competitive spirit and physical conditioning. Taekyeon. Taekyeon is a traditional Korean martial art, recognized for its fluid and dynamic movements that emphasize natural flow and rhythm. It is thought to have been developed during the Joseon dynasty. It stands out for its softness and the use of circular movements, making extensive use of the legs for kicks and trips, along with unique hand techniques. The art is also noted for its pumbalji stepping technique, which ensures continuous motion and balance. Taekyeon, a cultural treasure, stresses harmony between mind, body, and spirit, embodying a deep philosophical foundation. Systema. Systema, meaning the system in Russian, has its roots in the Russian military and has been changed over centuries. This martial art is known for its emphasis on biomechanical efficiency, flexibility, and the body's natural movements. Systema covers striking, grappling, weapon defense, and employs breathing techniques, and most importantly, dirty moves like eye poking or biting. Although it is very similar to Krav Maga, both of which were developed by militaries, Systema separates itself by focusing on relaxation and breathing correctly to control energy consumption as much as possible, where controlling energy consumption is especially important in intense and long situations like war. It is known to be deeply influenced by Russian Orthodox Christian principles. Mixed martial arts. MMA has a history that dates back to ancient civilizations, with the modern sport emerging in the early 1990s through the Ultimate Fighting Championship in the United States. The UFC was found to answer the long-debated question, which martial art is the best? Later on, fighters in the UFC were forced to adapt to be able to fight with martial artists all over the world, and developed their own styles, all while respecting UFC rules like no 12-6 vertical, karate elbow strikes, or kneeing kicking an opponent that is on the ground. MMA combines the best techniques from various martial arts, including boxing, wrestling, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and Judo, challenging fighters to be proficient across multiple combat ranges. It is usually considered the ultimate martial art for self-
One reason I don't really like mixed martial arts like that is just because you don't have to be good at anything. Like, I know that sounds crazy, but it's like, if I'm coming to watch stand-up, I want them to be good at stand-up and grappling. I don't just want them to be good at grappling and have a trash stand-up. Like, that's just boring. And most people say they don't like the ground game in MMA too. So I don't understand the reason of doing MMA and just not getting good at striking and grappling. And it's so easy to do it too. Literally, just kickboxing, jiu-jitsu. That's the easy. Like, that's just the two easiest ways. The two easiest ways to just get like good at mixed martial arts. Jiu-jitsu, it goes over all the takedowns you might need, the submissions, and then kickboxing goes over all the basic boxing work you need, and all the kicks you need too. Like, if you train at a mixed martial arts place, it's nothing wrong with that. It's definitely not, but it's definitely better to train them separately than together, because you can actually focus on them more efficiently than you would have to when you're actually at like a mixed martial arts gym. If you're just if you're focusing on going from like, let's say the class an hour long, if you focused on going like 20 minutes kickboxing, 20 minutes jiu-jitsu, you're just going to focus on the ones that you think is going to work the most. You're going to forget it. Like, that's why I don't really think that MMA fighters are usually the best at anything, unless they have a specific background in either striking or grappling.
Defense and street fighting. If you want to discuss this video or suggest an idea for the next one,
but one thing I will say is that, well, no, there are 5 different types of martial arts. My karate teacher taught me this, but the 5 different types of martial arts is, first you got competition. That's the most known, where you specifically train to compete, right? Like wrestling and boxing. Then you got traditional, which is like karate, taekwondo, judo. It's where you train, but you're not only training to compete. You're training for keeping the tradition going and for your mental, right? The third one is fitness, right? You just go for fitness. You don't really go there to learn how to defend yourself or fight or nothing. You just go there for fitness. 4, you have I forgot what it was. Oh yeah, like no, that's the next one. It's like choreography. You do it for like movies and stuff. You only do like some kicks and punches, some flashy kicks and punches for the movies. And then 5, you got LARPing, which is like live action role play. Like if y'all ever did airsoft or y'all seen them European knights and samurais fighting. That's crazy. But that's all I got for the video. I mean, like, the information in it was kind of accurate. It wasn't anything crazy. Like, it wasn't anything crazy, if I'm being honest. It was kind of accurate. But yeah, that's all I got for the video. Boom! Why you still here? Why are we still here? Just to suffer.